Good morning. It's Jonathan Barratt with the morning debrief for March the 3rd. Yeah, March the 3rd, right into March at the moment. Last night, quite an interesting night, especially for gold and oil. Not all the commodities, but gold and oil certainly had a volatile night for oil, but gold also had a very strong night. Went up to around about 11.37 before paring back its gains to 11.33, 11.34. So that's probably the key. Also, a little bit of weakness towards the US dollar, but still very, very tight in its range. And the Dow, a bit of a lackluster events, but pretty much stayed within its ranges. Anyway, let's have a quick look at the markets. There we go. Okay, the Dow in itself looks like it's closed up only 2, as we mentioned, pretty flat for the day, but certainly managed to close just up on the day. 10,405. The S&P was up 2, the Nasdaq up 7.6. Europe, however, did have a much stronger night. The Stoic was up 23, and the FTSE up 78, the DAX up 63, and the CAC up 42. That appears to be all on the positive news that Greece would pare back its deficits by close to $3.5 billion. So that certainly helped things there. Also, for those that follow the cars, Ford's US sales are winners. It's first since 1998, and so it basically beats GM on that, and that's certainly quite positive. On the economic front, not a lot of news there, but we did get I guess a little bit more on Greece, but also we had some API data there on oil. However, that wasn't the main responsibility for oil to continue to trade higher. And also, it was Greece said it was a 6.5. I said it was 3.5 billion, so just a small correction there. Okay, so really, a little bit of news, not a lot out there at the moment. So the market seems to be tracked in a range, and you can actually see that it is stuck in a bit of a range. And I think that range is here till we see some definite breakout. That might be with the US dollar. So let's have a quick look at some of the currencies. Okay, let's put that one there. There we go. US dollar index. Have a look at the currency there, and the formation is interesting in that it's still ranging, and a lot of our commodities remain ranging as well, and we're not really breaking out. And this actually gives me a clue that we're pretty much undecided. We've got this formation here, consolidation. This consolidation all slowing down as well. So I wouldn't be expected to see, if we get a break below this area, this 80 level, 80-20, then that trend which started from 77 is broken, and we could see it trade lower. But a lot of resistance up around 81.5, as we can see, and support is 80-20, and that's the immediate range. Having a look at the Aussie, obviously yesterday we had a movement in interest rates. The Australian dollar reacted quite nicely overseas to that. Interest rates were up by 0.25% this morning, yesterday. That puts the rate at 4%. But when you look at the Aussie now, it's pretty much trying to move on. We had a high at 55, but it just seems to be stagnating. We can determine that this is all resistance at the moment, these levels. And has the Aussie got enough movement to push on? Perhaps not at the moment. Also, as you can see here and here, there's some good divergence developing, and that in itself, in my mind, suggests that there is propensity there for that Aussie to come down a little bit. But having a look where commodities are at the moment, it'll either be stagnant or higher. So technically it's saying one thing. Fundamentally, we're getting a bit of a strong picture for it. Okay, let's just have a look at the euro, and then we'll move on to some of the commodities. Euro, as you can see, this formation we've been following for some time. It's in a range. Dips can be looked at back to that 135.70. And every time it gets from there, it seems to bounce up quite nicely. I am starting to favour a strengthening euro there, particularly once Greece gets under control in terms of its debt, and I think that's sooner rather than later. Having a look at some of the commodities now, and you can see there the crude, volatile at the top end of the range, and had another clear break to the top side and failed. Last night we had a very strong move up to as high as 80.95 before coming back. And that concludes that range. So probably chances are that we'll probably just go sideways to lower again, and it's certainly stuck in that range. Copper, good to see copper up again. Copper looked quite positive. We have a firm or a strong bias towards copper trading higher, and that seems to be staying with us. We're not long copper yet, so I think if anything we just might have missed it. That's the chart at the moment, but I think you can look at dips on that. Having a look at gold, we are long gold and have been long gold for a while, as everyone knows. It's 1134.5. We had a strong move last night, and that's quite firm and quite happy. We can move our stops up now. Stops have been moved up to about 1110, and I think at the moment we could see the development of a trend there for gold. So I'm pretty happy about that. On to some of the softs. Let's just have a quick look at wheat, then we'll look at the calendar, what we've got out, and take it from there. But on the softs, just looking at wheat, it's just coming up now. A little bit slow this morning. There we are. There's wheat. Find it very hard, but stuck within this range again. And I think we will get some momentum if that US dollar starts to weaken. But let's see what happens. It's in a range, but we still favour a move to the top side. Of the economic data today in Australia, we've got GDP, very important. We've got, I guess, Eurozone retail sales, which I think is very important. PMI, obviously, in Eurozone. In America, we've got a whole lot of data for energy and the Fed's beige book, so quite important there. So, could be an interesting night. Still favour gold. Love that move in gold, as I mentioned. Crude sort of in a bit of a range. Wheat, we look. For the local markets, probably expect a mixed day, but I think, if anything, probably find that we might just edge a little bit higher. That's about it from us. I hope you have a good day and happy trading.